Hey gang, this is Mike with my real estate dojo, and you guys already know that just in the past 2 days that the stock market crashed. Some people say correction, and then that Bitcoin crashed. And one thing about the stock market that it crashed, it was very, very fast. And this was just a test. Imagine when the crash actually comes, the actual crash. So what I'm going to do is talk about 9 things that I'm going to do to win when the meltdown happens. So again, when the crash happens, what am I going to do to magnify and capitalize on a negative situation? Okay. All right. So I'm going to break this speak into 3 parts. The first thing I'm going to talk about is 8 warning signs that the crash is knocking on your door and your door. Okay, and also at my door. But however, later on, I'm going to tell you 9 things that I'm going to be doing that are benefits, and you might want to listen up and maybe get some ideas off those 9 things I'm going to do to help yourself out or your family, what have you. Okay. The second thing I'm going to do is, why am I preparing for this? Why do I think that what's going to come up is very important and I could capitalize on and make great amount of money for myself and my family versus most people that are going to lose a lot of money. Okay. And then the third part is the 9 things that I'm going to be doing that are going to be different than most of the people or the herd. Okay. So if you guys have any questions, leave a comment. I'll get back with you and we'll get started. And if you're watching on Facebook or if you're watching on YouTube, smash the like button, guys, and share it. And we'll get started, guys. Okay. So 8 warning signs, they're knocking on your door. They're not talking about at CNN or NBC or the fake news or anything like that. Okay. And if you ask a general person like a real estate realtor or a stock investor or most people, they're going to say, no, everything's okay. Okay. So the very first thing is that I've been driving around from Las Vegas to Denver, Boulder, Dallas, and I'm telling you, everywhere I go, they're building. Now, if you look in your town, see if they're building there. What are they building? Everywhere that I've gone to, they're building apartment complexes, this tall, a lot taller than this, but on high rises, and they're building a lot of homes. Okay, everywhere you go. Okay, everywhere that I've gone. In Dallas, where I'm at right now, just right across the street from me, there's like 3 new buildings being built. Everywhere that I go in Dallas, there's new apartment complexes, new builders are just squashing in. Okay, doesn't matter if you're like the old part or if you go into a new part. Okay, and at the same time, apartment complexes. When I was in Boulder, when I was in Denver, everywhere you go, you see cranes everywhere because they're just building apartment complexes or office buildings. You go to Boulder, the same thing is happening. I was in Vegas, same exact thing. They're building, new homes and new apartment complexes. And the thing is that you're not just seeing one apartment complex. You're seeing, or I'm seeing, like multiple complexes right next to each other or just a few miles away. And there's already a saturation of apartment complexes. So where am I going with this? Everywhere that I've gone from different states, they're building real estate. If it's commercial, if it's residential, or if it's apartment complexes left and right. Okay. And this looks like 2005, 2004, where the same thing was happening. Builders were building everywhere, apartment complexes were doing. And then once the meltdown hit, all these things froze. Like all the builders went bankrupt and they stopped building in those properties like I own in past Denton and Sanger. And you can see there was a subdivision that was built and then it went bust. It was a small builder and all the homes stopped, and there was probably like 10 homes in there, and there remaining were empty. Right now, if you go in the same exact subdivision, it's just flourishing again. Okay, there's more development going on, right? So start warning sign number one is that there is a lot of development everywhere. Okay. Warning number two is that you could listen to any kind of radio station, TV show, anywhere you go, Quicken Loans, this, I'm not putting them down, but anywhere you go, they're talking about how they're relaxing on the lending practice. So anyone can get a loan. Because I was getting some food at the Indian store, and there was a commercial about this company, and they said, you can use the HARP program to refinance your home. Okay, even if you have no equity, and you don't have to even get an appraisal on it. So these are some ideas that are like government-backed, easy refinancing programs, all the way to, you see, day lenders where, they say, we give you your title, give us some cash, or all these things, or we'll give you credit cards, or you've already been pre-approved for your business, or if you're, fixing a flipper, you probably already know how easy it is to get hard money lending. Okay, or there's funds out there, people want to partner up with you or what have you. Okay, so there's very easy access to lending now. Anyone can get a loan, and there's newer programs they're doing to waive, for example, if you have student loan, not to incorporate that into your debt to income ratio, which I've done videos about it before, so I'm not going to get into it here. Okay. All right. So we talked about the real estate. We talked about easy lending. Now, here's the other thing that I want you to think about, guys, is that most people in America are paycheck to paycheck, and they're in major debt. And then two, the government is in debt, okay? So much that most of us can't even understand what these numbers represent. And then not only that, other countries, okay, they're in debt. Now, while you're thinking, why should I care about other countries? Well, the problem is because of the petrodollar, because we're the world's currency, we're the world's reserve currency, and all the other world their fiat currency, like Germany's fiat currency, or let's say Great Britain or whatever, all those fiat currency, whatever it is, whatever currency they call their name, is pegged to the US dollar because of this idea called the petrodollar. And I don't want to get into it too deep. If you want to know more, get on my blog, My Real Estate Dojo, and search for it. I've done tons of videos about that, or my YouTube channel. That the world currency, we're the world currency, and so imagine that we're like this, okay? The United States, because we're basically printing our own money through the Federal Reserve, which is not part of the government, and it's the banksters or gangsters of the world, and they're printing money, okay, which is causing a lot of problems for you and me through inflation and crashes. That's why we're talking about this right now. Okay, and so because we're the world currency through what's called petrodollar, and I'm not going to get into it, so we're like this, and all the other currency are like just tipping to us, right? And they're pegged onto us, like Germany or Greece or whatever. Okay, and so what that means is that none of these governments have an actual money that's backed by anything, and their money is not backed by anything, is backed by our US dollars, which our US dollar is not backed by anything besides us producing a lot of debt. Okay, so if, let's say, in France, or if in Germany, if in Greece, these things crash, their governments crash, or their governments go bankrupt. Okay, it's like a domino effect. It has the potential to knock down many other dominoes, including the U.S. power center, which is our ability to just print out money left and right, because no other country can really do that. They can do that, but we're the only ones that has a deal with Saudi Arabia, where the OPEC, where we're able to make everyone in the world change their fiat currency, like whatever government it is, France or whatever, they have to change their fiat currency into dollars to be able to buy gas or fuel. Okay, and that's because the petrodollar. Now, the problem is that this party is starting to, end for us because, China's coming in with the yen petro. Okay, and so what they're doing is they're making their fiat currency backed by gold. So they'll tell the world that, hey, if you want to buy gas from us, you can change your fiat money into yang or whatever it's called, and their money, and then you could buy the gas, or we could do some exchange. But if you want to take that yang and get gold for it, then we'll give you gold. Where in America we don't have that. Okay, our money's not backed by anything than a belief system, just like Bitcoins. But the difference between Bitcoins and the US fiat dollar is that there's a certain amount of Bitcoin, so we can't keep inflating it, where the US, prints this, the Federal Reserve prints this, the central bank keeps printing this, and it is diluting our buying power, which is inflation, which is another thing that is happening around us. Because if you just go back and, look at your receipt from this year to like 3 years back or 5 years back for whatever item, if it was a tire, if it was eggs, if it was whatever, that thing has gone up. Okay, and it's gone up a lot more than what is being reported. So that is something that's basically taxing us, an additional tax that most of us are not aware about. Simply put, is our $20 today has less buying power than $20 5 years ago. Okay, so there's a lot of things going on that are warning signs that are not being, most people are not seeing it. Okay, like the other thing is the stock. The stock is just going straight up, and now it had a correction. But also remember that the correction just happened so fast. Like, we have all these programs that will sell if it goes over a certain amount, this and that. So it's not even humans anymore, unless you're just a small guy or what have you, which most of these big guys are not. So it will happen really quick. Okay, stocks all-time high. I made tons of videos about this. The Dow's all-time high, guys. Not the Dow bond. Interest is all-time low. I mean, it is so low, and this is where it's dangerous, and that's why I believe that the Fed is trying to move it up. And the reason is that if the market crashes, usually the Feds basically do two things. They usually lower interest rates, but unfortunately, we're already almost at rock bottom. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you put your money into a bank, you actually lose money because of the inflation. If you're getting 1% interest, etc. I'm not going to go into that, but you're losing money. Okay, so I'm sorry, I lost my train of my thought. Give me 1 second. So just to summarize it up, there's massive debt. Okay, the governments have debt, massive debt, and their people have massive debt. And because we're losing our power with the petrodollar, we can't just constantly print money. And since in America, most of the jobs are already outsourced out, like manufacturing's outsourced out, all this stuff, cars are pretty much, most people are, buying like Nissan and Toyota, and because of better quality. Not most people, but it's not like, Detroit. Detroit is basically gone, right? So since we are, like my shirt, if you look it over, it says China. If I look, most of these things are here from a different, like today I posted on something on Facebook. My rice comes from India. My cheese comes from France. My cucumbers come from this comes from there. So everything's coming to us. And since we're not a nation of producers, like we're not producing stuff, and people are not going to take our dollars anymore, because if it melts down, it's going to melt down pretty quick because all these symptoms, then there's going to be, for some people, gloom and doom. Okay. So we talked about, let me see if I got everything. Okay. Interest rates is all-time low. Okay. We have a bond bubble, stocks. You already noticed a quick crash or correction, whatever they want to call it, but more is coming. Okay. The real estate, everywhere you go, guys, they're building, they're lowering the debt. Okay, anyone can borrow money, dude. There's a lot of people in debt from the governments to their citizens. The petrodollar is losing its power, guys. Okay, now here's another big one. A lot of retailers are just closing down. For example, some of the big ones like Walmart just closed down. Sam's, Sears, Macy's. But some of you guys say, "Well, man, okay, they're going to Amazon or they're going online." Yeah, I agree with you. Some of it is going online. What about the rest of it? Okay, and you know, eventually, all these online places are going to eliminate more and more jobs. And as I talked about earlier, we're not producing anything. And so no one's really going to have money to buy stuff. Okay. So just to think about that down the line. Okay. But I'm not saying that's Amazon's going to be part of the crash. The reason, no, I'm not saying that. I'm thinking this is the future. Okay. But just know that retail is hurting. The malls are hurting. Okay. The small stores, like if you're in a town, if you look at your small corner store, like that one retail store probably has changed hands in the last 5 years, like 10, 20 times. It was a restaurant, there's a cleaners, this, and it was this, and they've closed down because it's hard for them to survive, okay? The small mom and pop shops, okay? So retail is really hurting. And all these things combined together is gonna create a meltdown, okay? Not only in America, I think in any of these other countries as well, which is gonna be a really potential meltdown. Now, that's great news for me and real estate investor, not because people are going to lose their money, and I feel really bad for so many people who work their butt off and they're going to lose all their life savings and stuff like that. But I think that this is their fault because they didn't put the money into their mind to educate themselves. For example, you're a grown up when you go work, and you're a grown up when you go work. But when it comes to your investment, you give it to some 401k, or you give it to some guy that makes $15 an hour, and you're asking him for advice. Okay, and so I think that you have to put that time and energy into yourself. If you're growing up to earn money, then you should be growing up to invest your own money instead of just waiting for somebody or put it into things that you can't really control. Okay, so now why am I making this video, and why am I getting prepared for this crash that's coming? Because to me and other investors that are what I call, crash investors or fire investors, is when everything, when there's a crash, everyone's going right, then there's investors like me that go right into the building that's burning up and start buying assets at a deep discount, and that's what's coming around. So I'm getting prepared because I'm super excited, and I'm sure very smart, many other people that are smart or not even smart, just done their due diligence, or they can see the writing on the walls, are very excited about this, okay? Now, one of the main reasons that I'm gonna be very excited is because I'm gonna be able to buy assets like real estate, commercial, residential, whatever I want, lots, rental homes, vacation homes, Airbnb, whatever I want at a very deep discount, number one. Now, many of these people are going to get their equity loss, so I have to do short sales and things of that nature, but it's still there. And the other part that I'm going to really, really love is that everyone's going to want to give me their homes through creative financing. And when I say everyone, I don't mean everyone, just the motivated one, the motivated seller ones. They're willing to give me their homes for owner financing, where I could do like some kind of creative financing, like a wrap, subject to master leases, lease options, things of that nature. And the reason is it's going to be so much easier for me is because I don't even have to do any of the selling, okay? The Fox News, CNN, NBC, Dallas Morning News, Denver Post, all these newspapers, all these TV stations, all these radios, the bus driver, the taxi driver, the Uber driver, the people on Facebook, all these people are going to be saying, hey, oh man, real estate's really bad. It's a horrible time to get in there and all this stuff. Okay. And all these realtors that just went and got licenses, and all these people that just bought houses in the last 5 years, they're going to be upside down in their homes, and they're all going to be motivated to sell. Now, they don't have to sell, and they don't have to participate in the depression that's going to be coming, but somehow they're going to get fooled and, listen to the TV, and they're going to go ahead and sell their homes at losses. And more than likely, they're willing to just let me just, do some kind of creative financing, which is a great opportunity for me. And that's why I'm so happy. And that's why I'm doing this video, to let other people know that, hey, the crash is coming. So make sure you take care of your assets. And then two, that it doesn't have to be gloom and doom. For me, it's going to be a time where I maximize my money, and it's where I really grow. Okay. Like, everyone's been trying to do deals, this and this, in the past, few years. I'm looking at deals, but I'm willing to buy when the crash comes a lot more than I am now, because I know that things are overestimated, overinflated. Everyone's selling their homes fast and getting more than the market. And some people are even dumb enough to have their realtor persuade them that if the seller wants 100, that they should put an offer for 120, because there's so much other competition, things of that crap. Okay. Which is pretty crazy, but I know seen a lot of stories on Facebook where realtors brag about how for their clients, they give them extra money, but they got the deal. Okay. Now, I am so excited because I'm going to get a lot of subject twos. I am so excited because I'm going to be able to grow my money, and I'm going to be able to create a lot of income producing assets. And it's going to be very easy for me. Okay. So now let's dive in and talk about what I'm going to do, the 9 things I'm going to do and I have been doing to prepare myself. Okay. Now, guys, for the past year or 2 years, I've been sitting here and just like pulling the horns and letting hey, guys, the crash is coming. The crash is coming, guys. I'm not sure if a lot of you guys listen, but I think some of you guys that are smart probably knew it, or you've been listening. Okay, it's coming, and it's going to be coming fast. Okay, the very first thing I did, guys, is back in 2006. Okay, I knew the crash was coming, so I invested in gold. I don't know if you guys remember when the crash came in 2006. Gold went up. So in 2016, I bought a bunch of gold and some silver. Okay. Now I regret the silver, and we'll do another video about that, but I should have went all gold, but I did an 80-20. Okay. Now, why did I invest in gold? Because there's going to be inflation. There's going to be significant inflation. There's already inflation. For example, if I keep my money in the bank, I'm not going to be able to grow it because it's sitting there. Actually, I'm losing buying power because of inflation. Okay. Where if I keep it in gold, for example, my money actually has grown since I bought it in around December 2016 till today. The gold per ounce has gone up, plus or minus $213, $220. Some days a little bit more, some days a little bit, but it's $200 per ounce. If I had that money sitting into a bank, I would even get $1 or $2. You know what I'm saying? If I did like a gold comparison, if I had $1,300, sitting in the bank, and if I had 1,300 in gold, it went up 200. Where over here it didn't. Okay, I didn't pay $1,300 for it back then. I have to go look it up to be exact, but when I did the numbers, it was $200, guys, plus $20 plus or minus. Okay, so was that a good deal? Absolutely. Where can I put my money and grow it by itself? And the value is actually there, unlike the dollar, which is the value, the purchasing power goes less and less and less. Okay. Now, the other thing I did is I created business. Like most of you guys know, I used to own a moving company. I used to own a brokerage firm. I have a bunch of rental properties. I wasn't happy in life. I was making all the money I wanted. I was being my dreams. And I decided to just close everything down, give all my stuff to homeless people, and go be homeless for, it was like almost a year and a half, and do what Buddha and Christ did, and to get the meaning of life and actually explore America. And it ended up being a perfect thing for me because since I knew the crash was coming, I could just take a little relax. Every house that I bought in 2006, fourth quarter, not every house because some of them I let them go, but the ones that I sold, I made 100,000 off each one of those, which sometimes I would only put 2 or 3 grand down to buy a property because I would only give the seller no money. And the 2 or 3 grand is because they were behind in payments. And so I just made the back payments, and with the closing cost would be like 2 or 3 grand, it would rent out a positive cash flow, 300, 400, sometimes 600, sometimes whatever. And I would hold it on for 5-7 years. And then boom, I sold it on the top of the market, of real estate. I mean, it was still a little bit more top as you can see, but, I was ready to get out. I was motivated. So I didn't care. And that's why I give all my stuff to homeless people. And I decided to go homeless. But what happened is that in that journey of finding my soul, I had the opportunity to travel America and see a lot of stuff. For example, I was able to go to Florida. I was able to see that area. I was able to go to Colorado and actually see the area. I was able to go to Las Vegas and actually see that area. Not just for a couple of weeks, but actually live there for 6 months or what have you, okay? And so basically I scoped out the areas that I want to buy real estate in these areas when the crash comes. So one of the main things I was doing is I was moving and learning the target areas that I want to buy property in. For example, in Colorado, I'm going to be buying properties in around Boulder area. I forgot the name of this city just right off my bat, but it's not a big deal. Or in Las Vegas. And I did a video why I think that Las Vegas properties are going to double. And since the crash is coming, I'm going to be able to pick them up very cheap. Again, if you want to know why I think Las Vegas is going to double in properties, go watch my video on YouTube or on my blog. I talk about exactly why I'm picking Las Vegas. So simply put, I traveled, I get to learn my farm area. I live in those areas. I drew different roads. I saw what I wanted, and I know exactly what areas I'm going to buy when the crash comes. Okay. So not only did I invest in gold, I traveled and learned different areas that I want to buy in when the crash comes. Actually was in the field for a couple of months in those areas. The other thing I did is, guys, I created business. So, after I was homeless, I didn't have a business. I was just, didn't have anything. I was living in my car. And so I went from having zero. I didn't borrow any money, take any money out, or use my credit card or anything like that. I was living in foreign states. I didn't know anybody, and I started a business. I just pursued my dreams, which is become a public speaker. And thanks to you and you guys supported my dreams. And and I've made thousands of dollars because I chased my dreams. And that's why I do this for you, okay? Because I'm doing this for you is that there's a lot of opportunities in America, no matter if it's green or if it's blue or black, the color, if it's cold, what kind of season it is, there's always an opportunity. Most of us think that we can only make money in the summer season. But we can make money in the winter seasons, and like the season that's about to come, the winter, the crash, okay? And there's great opportunities for you guys. For example, after I started my business, I started making some money because right now, many people are getting money or debt is very relaxed. Anyone with the credit cards, they got their balance filled up, they could go borrow money. So with that, what they're doing is like, they're splurging. They're just going out to dinners, they're buying furniture. So it's really good for the economy, right? Because they're consuming and consuming. So now's a great time to have a business. Like if you own a moving company, or if you own a construction business, if you're a realtor, if you're an insurance adjuster, whatever it is, car salesman, business is booming right now. Some sectors more than others because people have money, because not because wages has gone up. Wages hasn't really gone up, very little. I actually done a video about how they haven't gone up in such a long time, okay, on my blog. So simply put, creating a business is one thing that I've done to help pocket of my pocket. So when the crash comes, I can dive in there and buy distressed properties at pennies on the dollar. Okay. Another thing I've done is that I've started investing in Bitcoins. And I'm a crash investor. When it was going up 16, 17, everyone was buying except me. I was telling you guys on Facebook, on YouTube, don't do it. It's going to be in a bubble. And then when it started crashing 50, 60% is when I jumped in there and did a couple of investments there. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know if they're going to go up, if they're going to go down, but I did buy Bitcoins, Litecoin. I bought Ethereum. I own some Dash. I own Steam. And couple of other ones that I can't remember on top of my head, guys. Okay. Now, here's the other thing that I've done that most of the people like you or you may not want to do. Okay, which is I decreased my cost tremendously. Okay. Now we live in a society that, you know, pats you on the back if you have good credit, or what that means is if you can get in debt. You know, if you're willing to get in debt thousands of dollars, people think, you know, man, you did a great job, you know. But I don't believe in that. The dojo doesn't believe in that. We believe in imagination, creativity is more powerful than a stinky banker, okay, or some debt, okay. And so as an entrepreneur, a true entrepreneur, I've never used credit cards. I've never used a bank loan. I've never used, you know, raise money to do anything. Whatever I want to do, I follow my heart and I go ahead and do that. And then I figure out how to make it through imagination, or I'll have my customers fund my projects for me. And I've been doing that since like 1999, 2000. One example is like, for example, when I sold my VA book, some of you guys or ladies may bought it. Thank you so much. When I sold my VA book, before I even had it finished, I had you guys pay me a upfront fee. So before it was done, I had already made like $19,000, $12,000, $19,000. I don't remember exactly. I have videos about that that I made in like 19 days. So I had you guys fund it for me while I was finishing up the book. Okay. So this is an example. Same thing with my moving company when I first started it up. Okay. So I try to use my imagination. Not that I try. That's the only thing I know how to do. Okay. And many of you guys that took the alchemy class, you were like, wow, dude. Because not only do I give you like 14 marketing plan, 13 of those are totally for free. Okay. So only one you have to pay for, which is like, everybody's like, wow, dude. And I always tell my students, look, any fool can tell you how to spend money in advertisement, but it takes imagination, creativity to do it out of thin air. Okay. And that's why it's called the alchemy stones, because we turn nothing into gold, guys, into gold. And that's what I can do for you. Okay. And that's why I'm sharing my information with you, because I think I live in the world of abundance, not a world of like, you know, not that much. Now I know the economy that we live in, you know, is not like that. There's growth and there's expansions and contractions, and we're about to go into a contractions, and a lot of people are going to be hurting. I wish it wasn't that way. If I could write the book, the rules, I wouldn't have it this way. But that's why I believe in blockchain technology, because we're taking the power away from stinky bankers and making the people powerful. Okay, like Airbnb, the homeowner is now powerful, or Uber driver, the actual driver is making money instead of the big corporation. Like everybody's making money, but you know, it empowers the average person. So that's why I believe in blockchains, and that's why I invested my money into it, guys. So saving money is a very important habit that most entrepreneurs in America don't have, or not giving props for. I think that if you want to do something, you have to learn how to save money, and you have to also learn how to use imagination to go make more money. It's not just like, let me just make more money. No, you have to save money too, dude. Let me give you a couple of examples of what I've done that's saving me thousands of dollars, and what in those thousands of dollars, like $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a year easily, and I'm not really doing anything. Okay, and that could be easily whatever money you want that to be. For me, that's my investment money. Okay, one quick example is, let me give you just three that are very simple. You can apply it in your home. Okay, is that, you know, I used to spend $90 a week more. I'm just putting on the low side, guys. Okay, a week on gasoline, 90 bucks, with my Benz in there, I put my other car in there and just my motorcycle, and it was more, but I'm just putting it down, okay, a week. Now I bought an electrical car. I still have my other car, but with my electrical car, I am saving 90 bucks a week. That's $360 a month. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot of money, but if you do that times 12, guys, that's like $4,320 a year. Now, that could just be my Facebook marketing money, okay, where I put $4,000 in and I make 20 times that amount, okay? Or that could be my $4,000 I'm going to invest into Bitcoins or Litecoin, something that, I would have to spend it earlier. Now, instead of giving it away to all the petro fucking greedy people, now I take it and put it into an idea that empowers the people, okay? And then I can have a potential to make money, okay? I mean, it's a no-brainer, okay? Most of you guys, like me before, I used to keep paying the gas, okay? Now, the other thing is I went from $100,000 Mercedes-Benz to, I bought the car for 11 grand, but it was brand new. It's worth like say 30. Okay. So what that means is that my tire on my Nissan Leaf, I could get 4 sets of tires for like 500 bucks. Okay. No, I'm sorry, 250 bucks. They're like 50 bucks each or something. Okay. Plus mounted and tax are like 250 bucks. On my Mercedes, just the back tire is 480 bucks. The front tire is 420 bucks. So a whole set of tire will cost me this much, okay? And on the Leaf, it costs me this much, all right? Now, before I thought that the more stuff I own, it would make me happier because that's what I learned from the TV, and I was programmed like that, and our society programmed me, and I made a mistake, dude, right? And I realize now that I don't need all that stuff, because when I have those kind of stuff, what happens is I'm feeding the machine. I'm making everyone else rich, okay? So I don't want to be making discount tire rich by, spending 480 bucks per tire. I don't want to pay 500 bucks for oil change. I don't want to pay $1,200 for X or Y service, where on my e-car, I drive for free. And the tires for 4 of them is 250 bucks, guys. Okay. So just by changing my car habit, I am making 4,320 bucks. But not only am I saving that money that I have to actually spend. Okay. Some of you guys think, some places having a sale, and when you buy something, you're saving money. No, you actually spend money. But this is not like that saving. This is money that I would have to put out, and I was putting it out year after year. Now I get to actually keep that money. And not only do I get to keep that money, not pay attention, I'm able to reinvest that money into, let's say, Bitcoins, which is a high risk, right? But it's high return. So high risk, high return. So if I'm putting 4,000 plus in there, then there's an opportunity that I can make 40 grand, 400,000. I don't know, but it could be an opportunity I could get zero. And if I got zero, then I was in the same exact situation when I was paying for for gas in my car. So nothing worse happened, right? But if, on the other hand, I'm in a situation where I could put my money in there and it could maximize, and because it's a new technology, is the future, has a good potential to be the future, and empower a lot of people. So I can make a lot of money. So for me, I thought sacrificing was a lot better than go and borrow money on a credit card. Like, I heard a lot of people are spending money on their credit card to invest in Bitcoin. And what are they doing? They don't even have their own money, dude. They're using the bank's money to, invest. And, that's crazy. I mean, you're already starting off out of debt, instead of using your imagination and creativity to find an idea, what you're doing is just the easiest thing, dude. Let me just put it on my credit card. I mean, that's ridiculous, guys. And I know a lot of people talk about how to 100% finance and this, but if you're trying to go positive, does it make sense to go left? I mean, if you're trying to go north, does it make sense to go south? I mean, maybe you could eventually loop around and get there, but I know that we live in a society where it's all debt based, but don't you want to exit the metrics? You know what I'm saying? But that's all to you. That's a different spit. So the other way I'm saving money that I like to share with you guys is, for example, this is very, very simple stuff, guys. Okay, and I did a video about this. Is before I used to have, you know, one of these Gillette shavers that cost me like 35 bucks for like 8-pack at, you know, at Target or Walmart or Kroger or whatever. And I used to go through like every month or something. Okay, and if you add that up, you know, 30 bucks times 12, that's another 360 bucks that I get to save. Now, I'm not saying that I'm doing all this stuff just to save nickel and penny and stuff like that, because the reason I did all this stuff is, for example, I became a minimalist. I you know, I have 3 shirts, 2 pants, okay? And that brings me my next point, okay? I bought my 2008 wardrobe, which is basically 2 pants and 1 shoes and a jacket, and it was only like cost me $368.15. Okay. Before I used to pay like shoes or nice polo shirts for 1 or 2 for this. Okay. Now I bought my whole year's outfit for 368 bucks. And I wear the same exact pants. I got 2 pants that I swap out, and I got 3 of these shirts, and I just change out, and I got just a couple other stuff. But simply put, before my jacket, one of my jackets would cost me $300-400 bucks. Now my whole year's worth of clothes is $300-400 bucks. But now, what most of you guys don't see or may see is that I used to have a you know, women's closet full of clothes for men. Okay, so much shoes, so much jackets. I swear it was just full of my shit, right? Because I didn't want to do laundry, so I would just go buy new clothes all the time. And I would have to take my stuff to the dry cleaners. I would have bags and bags of dry cleaners that I have to do on a weekly basis. On a weekly basis, I would have spent $300-400 bucks on dry cleaning service. It was just ridiculous, dude. You know what I'm saying? Or every 2 weeks, $400 bucks. So not only did I shrink up my clothes that I didn't need, now I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to store it. I don't have to buy X dresser, all this crap. Now I don't have that laundry to do either, and take the time to drive it somewhere. And so, you know, what I'm trying to say is that by becoming a minimalist, I really realized that what's most important to me, which is time. That's why I became an entrepreneur, is not have to have stuff. But if you want stuff, I can help you with that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just my personal choice. And by doing some of this little small stuff, which is, you know, pretty cool, like driving an electric car is pretty darn cool. I have a $100,000 car with muscle, everything you think about, air suspension, wood train, I mean, everything, dude. But driving an electric car is pretty darn cool, even if it's just like a Nissan Leaf. I mean, I'm like the 1%er out there right now. If you live in California, it's a little different. But if you're in Nevada, I mean, like, man, you're like the 1.00%. If you're in Texas, you're the 1%er. In many other states, it's the same way. So that little change is allowing me to save a lot of money and give me a lot of free time. And for the past month, I've been driving around laughing at people when they pass me up and they, you know, waste like 10 bucks in gas because they have a big truck or a fancy car. And I think to myself, dude, you just burned a lot of gas. You just peeled off. Your tires are like this much, because I pretty much have a lot of different cars, so I know what the tire prices are and the gas price. So simply put, if you want to reach your dreams, guys, many of us in America think we have to just borrow money. And I'm here to tell you that if you want to be your dreams, if you want to be what the Creator planted the seed in your soul to be, you got to sacrifice, dude. Okay. And you got to use your imagination and creativity. Okay. And it's not just going to just be easy. Okay. But it's definitely possible, because if you chase your heart and chase your dreams, guys, the Creator is going to provide for you. The universe is going to provide for you. You might not become a millionaire, a billionaire, unless that's what you want and you're constantly working for that. But whatever you want, at the very least, He's going to provide for you and your family. And the rest, you got to work for it, dude. You know, when I let go of my businesses that I have for 14 years and I decided to go live in my car, it wasn't easy when I had to come back and start a business. I didn't even have a website. I didn't have shit, dude. You know, I had to start everything. I didn't have no products. I didn't know what I was going to do. You know, now I have a kid. You know, it's like I had all these expenses. So, you know, but I just followed my dream. I failed speech class. I can't write. I mean, I have all these disabilities. But my main thing was that I want to change someone's life. Okay, and that's the main thing. I want to change your life or your life. I know I can't change everybody's life. Some people are not gonna like me because I cuss, or I'm this, and it's okay with me. I just want to change a couple of people's lives, you know, and I want to change their life in such a magnification level that 10 years, 20 years from the line, when they see me like, oh, that's that Mike dude, or they're praying for me that, hey, I did this, or I did this for them, because, you know, that energy is basically what I'm looking for. Because the more life of you that I change, or you that I change, it makes me feel better. And when I feel better, I am more creative. I'm more into the zone, and I'm doing God's work. I'm doing my soul's work. So I have nothing to lose and everything to gain. And what I'm here to tell you, that if you're willing to sacrifice, you're willing to use your imagination, then you can do whatever you want to do. You don't have to get in debt, whatever it is. If you want to write a book, if you want to come up with a product, you want to be a real estate investor, you want to be a realtor, you want to start a pizza shop, you want to start a photography business, you want to do whatever, you can do it. This is America. It's the greatest country ever, guys. But you're not going to have a lot of success coming out of the gate, getting thousands of dollars and thousands of dollars getting into debt. And I don't care if you're starting a dental business, if you're starting an attorney's office, if you're starting X, Y, Z. Now, there's a lot of businesses out there that are very successful, but they're millions of dollars in debt. And if you add all the negativity plus the positivity, they're probably going to be in debt. Which is that really success? Okay, I don't think so. I think success is positivity, where you don't have a master, you don't have a bank, you don't have to go to a stinky banker and say, well, can I please get money for my business plan, or can I please get some money because I want to buy this house that I'm going to do fix and flip. And they say, well, we already lent you at 5 and you're capped out because of your debt to income ratio. You don't have to have someone telling you what to do. You just close your mind, close your ears to all the negative people, and you go to work and you find a solution. That's the road that's not traveled, and you might have to cut some stuff to get where you're trying to go, but that's what it takes, man. And if that's what it takes, and that's what it takes, and that's what I've done all my life, and that's what I teach my students to do, is to not be fooled by people that just tell you to spend money. Okay, anybody can tell you to spend money, but you need to use your imagination, creativity to get where you're going. So let's wrap it all up, guys. The crash is coming. You don't have to listen to me. I highly recommend do your own due diligence, listen to other people, read other places. We got a bubble in stocks. We got a bubble in real estate. We got a bubble in bonds. Interest rate is all-time low. The governments are in massive debt. America and all the other countries, the fiat is being overthrown, and the next crash can be pretty much a meltdown. And some of the things that I've done is I invested in Bitcoins. I shaved off a lot of stuff that I don't need in life that's just sucking up my time, that are not making me happy. I invested in gold and Bitcoins. I created businesses, and I invested a lot of time in reading. I read an average of about 60 books every year, guys. So if you do 60 books times 30, in 5 years, I'm reading 300 books, guys. So does that help out? Not that much, because I'm not that smart, but I think some of it is going in, guys, and I'm trying to give you the most core part of these information, because I want you guys to be successful. Thanks for watching. Don't take no for an answer. Hustle and bustle. See you later, guys.